Well. Welcome to everybody. Robert, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing, my friend?
Well, I tried to run away during the intro, but the dogs tackled me and made me stay. They said I got to be a part of this live. They wouldn't let me get out of this. So I tried.
Wow.
I tried. I'm telling you. It's great to see everybody that's joining us. The Maven is in the house. It's always great to see the Maven. Sue
Yes.
Ann, great to see you. Robin and Ronnie, my good man overseas, Mr. Ronnie, he got a front row seat. He took my seat. I was trying to run to the front row and get away. So, Robert, it's Friday. How are you? What's new with you, my friend? What's new?
Uh, besides being out on Ubers most of the morning, um, not much. Going over some stories from the case we covered last night on our live, but but my daughter was 2 hours late to school because my alarm didn't go off, her alarm didn't go off, and my wife's alarm didn't go off. So uh, we walk into school, and the para at my daughter's school says, "You're 2 hours late." I'm like, "Sorry, we overslept." Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh man, here's another dad not getting his daughter to school on time. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. And just let everybody know, Robert and I are. We thought that Miss Christy Nevada would be joining us this evening. She may pop in. She may not. If not, please everybody send her your best wishes and say hi when you get a chance. As we'll miss her if she's unable to join us, but I'm sure she'll join us soon. Robert. So,
Yes.
as many probably know, Robert and I do cover other cases. We've been working on the Charlie Kirk, and then, of course, today, Puff Daddy, Mr. P. Diddy, got sentenced to a couple of years in the federal penitentiary. I mean, it's not quite what the prosecution was expecting, but he got a couple of years, which is more than what I thought he would get. Seems like the high powered, high money people tend to get less sentences than people like you or I, Robert. I mean,
Yeah.
I think in that case, I probably would have got 100 years. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. If not 100 years, maybe the death penalty.
Yeah, maybe even the death penalty. There's probably that possibility. True Seeker, it's always great to see you. As you popped in, it's great to see you. Robert, we're gonna jump back into some Idaho 4. I know it's been a minute for me, and I know in discussion with you, it's been a little bit of a minute for you as well, as we've been spreading our wings and looking at other cases as we like true crime as a whole, not just the Idaho 4. But I guess we decided for a Friday night we would jump back into it. What do you think?
Yeah. Just like the Steve Miller band, "Fly Like an Eagle."
Yeah. I have a funny Steve Miller band concert story that I'll have to share one time. But yeah, yes, Mark and Betty, we are actually live. Can you believe it? Is this live? Mark and Betty asked, and here we are. We are live. Believe it or not, somehow they caught us, Robert. They caught us live.
Bad boys, what you gonna do when they come for you?
You're going to get us copyright struck with your singing from all these movies. We're going to be done in. And I'm probably going to get copyright struck anyway, because, ladies and gentlemen, I will be venturing off of my channel platform, off of Robert's platform, to go get some of these videos that we'll be watching and we'll be discussing. I know many of you guys have seen them. We're going to talk about the Dylan Mortensen interview. We're going to talk about the Bethany Funk interview, Jack Showalter's discussion that he had with the police. We're going to be just kind of roundabout discussing the Idaho 4, what we feel today compared to what the last 3 years worth of feelings. Can you believe that, Robert? 3 years we've been into this case. Isn't that crazy?
Feels like an eternity.
Oh man, I'm telling you. Well, I mean, it's just shy of 3 years, I guess, because November 13th of 2022. The anniversary date is just around the corner. Miss Cheryl Borges, it's always great to see you. I'm glad that you were able to make it and say hello. We always send you our love and our hugs. Up in Canada. You're a long way from home when you join us, right, Robert?
Yep. The Great White North.
Now, Robert, where do you, in your mind, we've had to take a refresher. We had to take a step away from this because of how much work we put into this, how much discussion we've had. Now that you've had that little bit of a breather and you're just kind of getting your wings, flopping today to talk about the case. I mean, have you followed it at all? Have you ventured out and watched other people's content? Have you followed anything that's been happening recently in the case?
The only creators I've been recently watching is you, Lucky, Dago, and some of Murder Mental Mayhem. But yeah, I haven't really been like immersed as I used to be in this case. Like you said, I took a step back, for health reasons and other stuff like that. But coming back into the case, I've kind of narrowed my focus on exactly what creators I watch and what I watch for.
Yeah, it's always interesting because I keep a very open mind. I venture around. I haven't watched a lot of content because, like you, I've been kind of up and down and working through some health stuff as well. But when I find the time, I'd like to spread kind of my attention around and give everybody a little bit of a listen, whether they've really had the feeling of guilt or innocent. I look as an overall now across the board to try to get little bits of information from around and the feelings and the atmosphere. And it still seems like it's a pretty heated debate on whether or not people, are seeing Brian Kohberger is guilty or not guilty in the appeal process and things of that nature. I mean, the appeals date that he did have, the little bit of a time frame, which was the habeas corpus, it's come and gone. It flew by us, and obviously not much happened. I mean, do you, in your opinion, now that you've taken this step aside, do you think you're going to see change in this case happen anytime in the near future, or do you think it's just closed and this is what we see?
Unless some miracle happens in this case, like they find some alternate suspects, I think this case is pretty much closed. Yeah, because I will admit it was a stupid plea he took. And I hope you agree with me on that. But he took the plea. He copped to what was in the plea. He admitted guilt in the courtroom.
I do absolutely. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to make a statement that I absolutely agree with you. It's probably the dumbest plea I've ever seen in the history of plea bargains.
Yeah, because if he, I mean, I'll agree partially that he could possibly have some guilt in the case, but if you're going to sit there for 2.5 years with your attorneys decrying that you're innocent and they believe that you're innocent, why just weeks from the trial are you going to, I'm going to use a euphemism here, pussy up and take a fucking plea?
Yeah, I guess I'm just one of those types of people because I've been incarcerated and I've had to fight the battle, and I've sat on the doorstep of trials and I've had to weigh out my options on whether to take a plea or whether to push all the way through trial. No, I've never sat in the same position with the death penalty hanging over my head and a life sentence as my alternative. But I don't see why someone would say, at the very doorstep of trial that I'm going to go ahead and take a plea bargain to do the rest of my life forever and a day behind bars, when I could take it and potentially have a chance at trial, where the worst case scenario is, and I know a lot of people say, well, you just don't understand, the worst case scenario is death. Well, you got death anyway. Death is in the penitentiary. Death walks by you every single day. Unfortunately, the penitentiary is a violent place, and you just never know. Plus, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree with me on this, Robert. The medical attention within the prison system is not all that good.
No,
just
no,
not
it's
all
not.
that good. So, I get it, but he wouldn't even have been put to death for 25 to 30 years. And there's so many now hurdles for states to even be able to put somebody to death. I know they brought back the firing squad and this and that, but there was going to be so much back and forth, and the appeal process takes forever and a day, as it is too. So I just there's something within this plea bargain that I don't understand, but there's got to be something behind the plea bargain that we just aren't seeing. That's my opinion. For him to switch up and for his attorneys to go from fighting every step of the way to now just taking a plea bargain, there's something that we're not seeing. But I'll tell you what, Robert, and we're kind of, one of the reasons why we're here is because now they're releasing, the videos and the audio and the very things that we were waiting for. I was waiting to hear what that Dylan in the interview room, what she had to say. I was waiting for Bethany. I've been waiting on these. And let me tell you, they don't disappoint if you were looking for some misinformation. I'm not sure how you feel about that.
Yeah. If in my opinion only, a lot of the stuff that we've heard over the last 2.5, 3 years has been misinformation, and it's primarily come from the media side.
I do agree. However, here recently, as I've kind of worked my way through some of these videos, and I'm sure many in the chat have seen them as well. Like, let me just reflect. I'm going to just single out, and I'm not trying to single out this individual as if I'm pointing a finger at her or trying to, make it negative upon her. But Dylan's story, no matter where you see it, and then you compare it to what you see in that interview room, is just wrong. Like, it's off. There's nothing about that young lady's story that adds up at all. And let me take a brief moment. Kathy's Indie Zone, thank you. It is always great to see you. Always great to see you. I follow you heart and soul. I watch just about every piece of content you put out. You're absolutely amazing. Keep up the great work. And I definitely hope that you venture into other cases as well and bring your intelligence and your great just focal point and view of things. But thank you very much for being here. But I think that's been a discussion that we've had a lot, Robert, even behind the scenes. You and I have talked, like, where's the truth in the Idaho 4 case? Where's the truth of it?
Yeah.
Who has it? Where is it? Because from everything I've seen, I'm not seeing any of it.
No. Yeah, it felt like with this entire plea deal, it was rushed. It was a rushed plea deal. Yeah, weeks. I think, what was it, brother? About maybe 3 weeks from trial, or a month from trial.
They were getting ready to do jury selection process. Was about a month out. So I believe that the trial would have been set back a little bit. I think the rush job literally was the entire case. But the problem is they stalled the rush job out for 2.5 years meaning that the rush investigation to get to Brian Koberger, and that's where I think the worst part of the rushing happened, was the day of the crime to the point that they arrested Brian Koberger. Everything within that month was extremely rushed, and then everything drug out after that. Does that kind of make sense to you?
Yes, yes, it makes sense, and I will say I agree with you on that. What he should not have done was waive the preliminary hearing, or the speedy trial, I should say. He shouldn't have waived the speedy trial, because that would have put the pressure on the prosecution to come up with what they said, loads of evidence, when it came down to just circumstantial evidence. Yeah, if he would have just said, "Oh yes, I'm going to do the speedy trial, and I want to see what they got," we wouldn't be sitting in this boat 2.5, 3 years later.
I want to agree with you. I do. And for 85 to 90% of me, I do agree with you, except for the fact, as you probably know and understand as well through our backgrounds, our experience, it is very hard to not waive your speedy trial. I mean, it seems like almost every case, even the ones that I pushed to go to trial with, we waived the speedy trial, because there's always something that we're waiting on for the discoverable evidence or things of that nature. But also, and I'm sure you felt this way before too, and I definitely felt this way, I didn't feel like I ever had great communication with my attorneys early on to really get in their head that I was not willing to waive that speedy trial. In most cases, I'm sure you've endured it too. It felt like, to me, from the minute I was arraigned to moving forward through the steps, they were pushing plea bargains on me. Did you ever feel that way as well?
Yes. I was back in 2004 when I was arrested for my ag robbery. I was in jail for 180 days, and the Sedgwick County Jail here, it's like really, the court system here is really slow. I had my first meeting with my attorney like a month in, and he was discussing everything with me, that if we could just take a plea, then everything would be okay and I would be out. Well, the first plea got rejected by the judge, and that was like 3 months in, and on the very verge of a jury trial, they came to me with a plea for 5 years probation and the community corrections program, and the judge actually accepted it like maybe a day before the jury trial.
I want to respond real quick. Mark and Betty makes a good point. As we discuss right here, right now, what is a quick and speedy trial would be, I don't fully agree that a speedy trial would have led to a not guilty verdict in the Brian Koberger case, and this is why. I potentially feel as though the narrative was already building against Brian Koberger, and the one thing the jury would have absorbed in a quick and speedy trial was the DNA. The DNA match to Brian Koberger, that was the prosecution's smoking weapon in the air, would have been hard to argue if Ann Taylor didn't have the whole background, and that's what she was fighting for. She was fighting to get more information on the way that sheath and that DNA was handled. And of course, now we could say, well, none of that mattered. He pled out. But at that time, it did matter. They needed to know how that was being worked and what was happening. And at this very point, Brian Koberger would have been convicted, in my opinion, just based on the DNA on the sheath. the video, they would have shown bits and pieces of this video that showed a car similar to Brian Koberger's, and they would have told this narrative story that sounded good. And Ann Taylor wouldn't have had a lot to fire back at this because of one major problem. And this is the one thing, Robert, and you and I have spoken about this in behind the scenes conversations. There was no alibi.
No.
None.
Except
And
for
I
that flimsy
think
one
that
except for the flimsy one that he said that, well, why park? That was the only alibi we heard.
Well, he didn't even say that he was at the park that night. He just said that he randomly drove at night and that he did go to that park to go hiking. So I agree, Mark and Betty, 100%. As we look back from today to the beginning, we are realizing, and it's very easy to realize based upon the very wording of the prosecutor, they don't know. They don't know if Brian Koberger had a connection. They don't know how he was connected. They have nothing. But what I'm saying is, if we go quick and speedy and we jump into trial, because you have to realize how quick that quick and speedy trial is. It's fast. Your defense team has to have some firepower going into that. I've done a quick and speedy trial before, Robert. I don't know if you have, but in the discussion I had with my lawyers when I was going to jump into that, they said we have to have power on our side. We have to have some firepower, whether it be some sort of alibi, some sort of story that we can tell that can combat what the story is they're telling. And all I'm saying is, in my mind, I believe that the defense didn't quite have that firepower for a quick and speedy trial. That's all I'm saying. Could they potentially have created one? Probably, maybe. But what would it have been, Robert? In your mind, without an alibi, take away an alibi. You don't have one. Not a provable one. Okay? Not a provable one. What firepower could the defense have come at in a quick and speedy trial if they hadn't fought to get evidence suppressed, if they haven't fought to get witnesses disqualified, if they haven't fought the steps for a real trial in a quick and speedy, what firepower would the defense have had? And Marky Betty, I know you're not being aggressive. You have great points. You're not being aggressive. I think you're making great points. Very valid. Very good.
Okay. And I didn't mean to cut you off earlier either, brother. Well, if they have no alibi, it would be hard to prove where he's at. And the defense would have to prove that he wasn't there at the scene. With no alibi, it makes it hard to prove that he wasn't there.
And you have to also take into account, too, no Cy Ray. He hadn't come into play yet. No any type of analytics in regards to his cell phone or anything that could potentially be firepower for Brian Koberger. And that's why I'm saying a quick and speedy trial, even though it sounds great, because we feel as though we're catching the prosecution off guard. We think that the best route to go is to catch the prosecution with what I like to call their pants down. They don't have the smoking gun, the weapon to get a conviction against Brian Koberger. But the defense still would have had to have something. Otherwise, the narrative on the DNA of the knife sheath carries the most value and weight at that point.
I agree with you. And if you think about it, like what we talked about last night with Tyler Robinson, leaving that gun behind that had his DNA on it. And at the same time, if that was Brian's knife sheath, leaving it behind with DNA on it, there's the knife sheath, just like the rifle was the smoking gun, leading back to the perpetrator.
Yeah, and Cheryl Burkese, I agree with you in the sense that if we weigh out all of the evidence in the case to go to trial, it would have been a very weak evidentiary trial. Like, I just don't see what they could have done as a prosecution other than step to the plate and tell a narrative and a story. And there wouldn't have been much to back that story. Like, okay, you're going to get up there and you're going to have no statement that you could make on how Brian Koberger even knew the victims or any point in time he bumped into them. You would have none of that. You would have just very basic, and the DNA is questionable. Like, the DNA on that knife sheath is questionable. And I haven't seen anything that comes to light. And I've had this discussion with others, and I've been waiting. And now, I mean, the breaking news is the judge in Idaho has ruled that no more crime scene photos that could involve bodies or blood cast or anything of that will be released. So tell me, Robert, where are we going to ever see a photo of that knife sheath in the crime scene?
Yeah. The only way,
Right.
yeah. I mean, right. But the only way to see it is through those body cams from the first responding officers.
Yeah, and we're never going to see that because the bodies would be there.
Yeah, Mark and Betty brought up. Yeah, she said, Albert, why has Cy Ray disappeared?
It's a great question. I mean, the entire defense team has disappeared. I mean, that's very questionable to me as well. Anybody from the defense team is now able to speak. I mean, look, the entire prosecutorial team is speaking. The defense team could also speak. They're choosing not to. Now, many people would say, well, that's because they've got plans, they've got this, they've got that. And maybe that's potentially true. Maybe. Or they have some sort of agreement with Brian Koberger that they won't speak. I don't know what it is. I've had those agreements before with my attorneys that when I was found guilty, there would be no speaking at any point to anybody about my case. Now, mine was nowhere near high profile, but I didn't want them speaking to family. I didn't want them speaking to anybody, nobody. So I had an agreement in place that they wouldn't be able to do so. I don't know if Brian Koberger has that agreement in place or not.
Yeah, it's just like after the after everything, the defense team disappeared like a virgin on prom night.
Yeah, I mean it's they definitely, but you know, that my biggest thing out of everything that we've seen, and we've seen videos be released, now we're seeing interviews being released, we're seeing body cam footage of things, where I still want to see something that backs up the DNA evidence in this case. If you can't show me the sheath, show me every document that was filed in the transport and the movement of the DNA of that sheath. Show me everybody that worked on it, and I guarantee you we're never going to see any of that. Ever. And that bothers me. I don't know about you, but that bothers me.
Yeah. Mark and Betty just asked, so if the defense keeps quiet, does that mean there's an appeal in a few years?
No.
There is a slim window to an appeal, and that window is already closed.
Yeah, the habeas corpus, which would have been the appeal window, has come and gone. The only hope that Brian Koberger has is not an appeal hope. It's an actual finding of new evidence or a new perpetrator or something of that nature that could reopen the eyes of people that need it to be opened, which is the investigators. And it, you know, at that point, they could begin the investigation. The defense team could bring in new investigators that could go out and seek more evidence. But at this point in time, I mean, we have to understand the appeal is gone. That's over. That's not, and I spoke very early about that, and I got ripped apart. And trust me, Robert, I got ripped apart when they said there was no appeal coming. None. Because if there was an appeal planned, the plea bargain wouldn't have gone down the way it did.
Yeah.
That now it's going to take investigative measures to bring something to light that could change where this case stands now. Now, one thing that bothers me, and Robert, I probably should shut my mouth, but I'm going to speak on it anyway. I'm going to speak on it anyway, because I fall into this trap too. I come and I do content and I speak negatively upon the investigation. I make very clear statements that I'm one that wants to literally bring light to the system and the way that it's interacting and the way that our courts handle things. And I feel like this investigation was one of the most shoddy investigations that I've ever been around. I've seen a lot of people in and out of jail. I've seen a lot of people in the penitentiary, and most of and I'm sure you've met these people too, Robert, the investigations hit home and they make sense. This one doesn't, not in my brain. I don't think it was done correctly. And I still have trust issues considering this is the very same law enforcement agency that was caught up in the Stickergate situation, which is dishonest and lying. You still have what was it, a dentist up there or something like that, a doctor or whatever his name was, that was railroaded into some sort of deal in his case that had some of the people that were involved in the Idaho 4 were investigated in that case. I think that was a Moore case or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of trust, but where we fall trapped too, and I even, my wife looks at me too and says, when have you reached out, AR, and gone to the doorstep in Idaho of the jurisdictions and pushed for change, pushed for people to pay more attention to the IGG situation, pushed for a DNA investigation, things of that nature? And you're right, I haven't. And there's a lot of us out here that do content that are 100% convinced that Brian Koberger is innocent, and we continue to march that path. And I'm not saying that I'm that person or you are, Robert, so I'm not trying to put words in your mouth or food on your plate, because I personally now, I just kind of stand where I stand, which is the investigation was improperly done. I can't say Brian Koberger is innocent, but
Yeah.
We can continue to push content, but when are we going to actually push for change? When do we step up to the plate and demand better of the system rather than just continuously behind a microphone push content out to try to disprove somebody's guilt when we should be making change in the very investigation that led to his guilt?
Very true. Because you've heard on a couple of my videos that this entire system here in the United States, the judicial system, is crooked and it's a 2-tier level of justice.
Yeah. I've been involved in cases where I knew the truth because I was the culprit of the case, and I knew the investigation was wrong because I was the culprit of the case. So I have an issue of the way this case was handled. And RC3, maybe that's RG3. It's RC3 or RG3. I can't see. I'm sorry.
RC3.
The thing, that's where I'm stuck. Show me something with that knife sheath. And now I think that's one of the very reasons why this judge, I hate to say this, but this shows more trust issues I have. and why I feel there's dishonesty going on. Why have we not seen anything to do with this knife sheet? And now a judge has 100% sealed up that we'll never see a picture or any body cam or anything of that piece of evidence with their decision not to even redact, but to permanently block anything from being released.
It's bullshit.
I mean, I thought we were all adults, right? Like, aren't we all adults? And I believe the victims were adults.
Yes.
You know, I go back to when I was young, the O.J. Simpson crime scene. We saw the very blood from both Goldman and Nicole just flowing out the front door on the patio of that home. We saw the very evidence. We saw the glove. We saw everything. And,
yes,
you know, we even get to the point now. I mean, how many times in these various cases do we see so many of the photos?
yeah,
And now we get to an adult. These were not kids that lost their lives in Idaho. I know a lot of people say they were. These were adults. They were consenting age, most of them of drinking age, military age, getting ready, most of them to graduate from college.
mm-hmm.
They lost their lives. That's horrible. It's horrible. But this crime scene and this entire case should not be redacted the way it is when we're all adults.
Yeah. Yeah, it's stupid and idiotic.
Yeah, and Mark and Betty, you know, that's such a hard question. Do I believe that Brian Koberger is involved in some capacity? Yes, I do, and I know a lot of people don't agree with that assessment, but I do. I have a gut feeling. Now, do I feel as though his rights were trampled upon and he was led through a court system that was unfair and against the way that we as United States citizens should be treated? Yeah, I do. I believe that he was maybe not falsely accused, but mistreated throughout the system. So it's a double-edged sword because,
Yes.
you know, if I feel like he was complicit in some way or a part of this, then obviously I don't feel like he should be walking free. But do I feel like he should have had a fair trial, like what I see the judge in Utah with this new Tyler Robinson come out and clearly state, you were innocent until proven guilty? Well, to me, I can't say that I feel like he's completely involved in this case because nobody's proven guilt to me. Nobody's proven guilt.
No.
Brian Koberger admitted in a court of law and took a plea bargain. That doesn't prove guilt, Robert. That didn't prove anything.
No.
It just meant that he took a plea bargain. There could be many reasons for that. Man, I've taken plea bargains just to get out of jail before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't commit it. I just wanted out of jail. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, I think there's a lot of coincidences within this case that could lead me to believe that Brian Koberger was the culprit of this crime. I believe that he could potentially be a part of the crime. He could potentially have nothing to do with the crime. But nothing's proven to me that he committed the crime. There has been not enough evidence for me to convict him of the crime.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, you have everyone in that courtroom, you know, except for Judge Hippler. You had Judge, who was a alumni of the U of I, and he's married to a professor there. Bill Thompson was a alumni, and Taylor was. You had Brian sitting there, like he was like surrounded by sharks.
Yeah. one thing that I really have a problem, and we're going to kind of get going here. I'm going to bring up here in a second Dylan's interview in the interview room. A lot of people are making this out to be like it was an interrogation. Dylan was not interrogated. I want to make this very clear up front. Dylan was never interrogated. She was interviewed. There is a difference. Should she have been interrogated? Probably. She was alive and in the crime scene. My problem is, I mean, stories with her change so much, but
Yeah.
seeing how she's acting, okay, first of all, outside of the crime scene, which makes sense. You're going to be upset. You're going to be disturbed. You're wrapped in a blanket. And then to go into the interview room and you have a totally different demeanor. And then to transfer from that into the courtroom when we see her sit down at Brian Koberger's sentencing, can't even be in view of Brian Koberger, just a complete cry fest. So even, I mean, her stories change a lot, but even more so outside of the stories, her demeanor, her actions, her emotions, they vary so much that they're actually not believable.
No, it's like she's putting on an act for the camera.
She is. And that's the way I feel too. And that could potentially be, I don't want to be deemed as a part of this. I don't want to be deemed as guilty, whatever that might be. And I get it. I got to figure out. So I want to share this on the screen. First of all, let me see if I can bring this up. I'm going to add this to the stage real quick. So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I got to give the individual credit. So I don't know how many of you guys follow Outcast. He's a channel here. So if you do follow, great. If you don't, please subscribe. I've engaged with this gentleman once or twice, just from afar. I know, Robert, you've had some interaction with him, and he's done some work on your content before, giving you some props for your work and nice things. So a very nice gentleman, and I'm going to be utilizing his channel. As you can see, it's Outcast. So I want to give him credit because he is the one that's actually been very nice and put up the different interviews. Now, what you're going to have to help me with here, Robert, is I obviously have it here where I'm sharing it to the screen. Okay. How do I make it where they can hear it without it affecting my echo? Do I have to put myself on mute when I play this?
You can't. You could, and if you want to, like there in the corner, make it bigger to where it's not showing all the ads and stuff.
Yeah, here. Yeah. But I have to take this off mute here, right? And then I can play this?
Yep.
Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Outcast. It's his channel. And this is going to be the Dylan Mortensen interview. I believe this is the first one. There is a second one out. I got to make sure that this is actually, I believe this is the first one. It's about 5 minutes long. We're going to play through this. And then we'll discuss it as we go. Just understand, I got to stop it. I don't do enough content, Robert, where it will probably interrupt my channel too much to the point I get a copyright strike. But hopefully Mr. Outcast doesn't mind that we're going to utilize some of his hard work here. So let's play this for a minute. You're right. As you guys can see, this is the date. This is 11/13/22 interview. I believe this is this Maury? I think this is Maury in with her. Somebody's in with her. And I got to give a little credit. I don't do it very often, but I'll give a little bit of credit to Jay Embry because he breaks this interview down. He discusses some of his thoughts, some of his opinions in regards to the leading through the detective. And I'll discuss that as well. and give some of that opinion. But let's see if we can hear this, Robert, and we'll play.
Somebody might have said something that you said. I think it maybe you it was.
And that's not me. That's actually their microphone. So please bear with them.
Did you have, or in the recent history, have anybody that you thought might have been stalking you, or that was just acting weird?
No, but I mean, talking. Remember about a month ago, I think that one of the police officers that Kayla was outside taking Murphy out, and she saw a shadow.
Yep. Okay.
And then when Kayla was at Winco, Xander was in the car. She noticed this guy was following her. She got what she was getting, put it in the car, and she could see in her mirror that the guy was behind her in the car.
Okay.
So obviously he was trying to follow her. And then that was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then about a week ago, our door is broken, but me, Maddie, and Ben came home and the door is wide open. And obviously, yes, the door is broken, but that could also be something else as well.
With the front door?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever find the back slider open or anything? Is that usually locked? What's the condition?
I mean, we're pretty good at locking it.
Okay.
I don't think we locked it last night.
And who?
Sorry about that. I was on mute. Here I was. I wanted to chime in. Robert, get your opinion. Do you notice right off the bat, this is nowhere near what a typical interview in a police station, in an interview room is? They literally got straight to the narrative here.
Yes, I noticed that. Being in a police interview room, you're sitting at this big table, and trust me, I've been in a couple of the interview rooms, namely handcuffed to the table.
Yeah, I've never not been cuffed.
And you're sitting at a table, and the detective is on the other side of the table, and the interview rooms I've been in is a way bigger than the ones that they're in now. Yeah, in this video, that looks like just a small room that they put a desk in. And yes, Cheryl, naughty Robert. But she's talking about this person following Kaylee at Winco. The police talked to him, and it came up as he thought Kaylee was cute, so he followed her to get up the nerve to ask her out on a date. But then at the last minute, as he approached her, he chickened out and turned and walked away.
Yeah, the police did a full-out interview with that guy. This is also the same person at Winco that the Gonzalez family, when they did a few interviews, they were talking about it as well. So she's explaining a pretty known situation that happened, but they jump right into this without even a "Hey, how are you?" kind of a. So what this tells me is they've already calmed her down outside of this interrogation room. They've already made her feel a little more comfortable. That's why I'm trying to explain to everybody, this is not whatsoever an interrogation. They are not interrogating her at all.
No.
This is an interview, but he uses tactics during this interview to try to get her to give, I guess, stumbled upon information, which then could help their investigation if they were going to look into her as a suspect. They're trying to get her to trip up on things, and we'll explain some of that after we kind of watch some more of this. But yeah, exactly. Morning, Nina. This is not an interrogation whatsoever that's happening here.
It sounds like the code is fairly well known to the front door by people.
I mean, only people that know us, random people would not know. But
okay, right.
Yeah.
Because said he knew it.
Yeah, he does.
Obviously, it sounded like she was going to move in with you guys, possibly. Doesn't sound like he knew it. Okay. Did Kelly ever ever say anything or report that weirdness to anybody else other than you guys?
No, because I mean, like, you can't, there's like no proof, you know, I
Right.
can't really do anything about it, and people are just weird sometimes. We didn't, like, obviously we were scared for a little bit, we didn't think much about it after that, because there was nothing really weird after that.
Did she see what kind of car it was that he was driving? Something like that? Where did Kaylee work?
She worked at home for a business, I believe. I can't remember what exactly it is.
So she was just she works from her apartment? From her
Yeah.
room? Okay. What about Maddie and Zana, where did they work?
Maddie and Xana both worked at Mad Creek, and then Maddie also had a paid internship through this business as well. That was online at home.
Who would know what that business is? How would I be able to figure that out?
You might know.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called. There's like, because they were business majors, and through their majors they were able to get these jobs.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just, you told me about Kaylee talking about something like that,
Yeah.
and then I heard that it was possibly you. So I just wanted to make sure that I got the right person out of those kind of things. Did you hear Murphy barking or doing anything
Yes, he was barking a lot.
throughout the night, or?
When I heard Kaylee go upstairs, he was barking a lot, and then I could tell that he was outside. I don't know how the police found him, because he wasn't in the house.
Okay.
But he has a puppy, he barks, but he was barking a lot if there was someone there.
And that was at 1:32, or was that around
Like
4?
and the thing happened.
And when he was barking, when you first heard him on barking after she was up there playing, did you hear him inside?
Hey, Robert, wouldn't you have asked for a soda or something by now?
Yes.
I even at this point, typically in the interrogation, which this one's an interview, I would have already asked for a cigarette.
Yep.
I mean, this is just kind of meandering through. He's getting basic information. They do this to start. He's just warming up. But the crazy thing about this is she's giving bits and pieces of very important details that later, as the interviews and as we find out and we read everything, she contradicts herself so much. And I think, unfortunately, as I've kind of started to put 2 and 2 together, I think it's just due to the nature of the discussion between him and the interviewers. I've noticed as I've watched some of these, he misguides some things here, making it difficult, and we'll see that here in a minute. So, sorry, I just had to chime in.
Just like Sheriff O'Keefe said, isn't he gentle?
Yeah, and they have to be, even when they're doing an interrogation, even when they were interrogating me on cases, they were pretty laid back at the beginning until they wanted to put the punch into, you're guilty or what, and they try to get you to confess. Or I don't see anything in this interview as we go. And I'm sorry, everybody, I have to stop it every once in a while. I can't get a strike on me, but he's not making any punches during this interview that she's at all even being investigated of anything. So I'll continue to play this. Here we go.
Go outside, or did he start outside?
Murphy was with Kaylee when they were like dancing. They walked upstairs. He was still with her. And then when she yelled, someone's here, he started barking in the house. And then I believe the slider door was open, and I think he went out that way because I could tell like the sound of his barking was getting like more distant.
Do you think that Murphy would have went after him, whoever he was?
Maybe, but I mean, he's a puppy. He doesn't fully know that yet.
No, he would just be, if anything, probably playing with him.
Yeah, I don't know.
When the guy in black left, did he close the slider or did he leave it open?
I don't know. I just ran downstairs.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, anything else?
Not that I
Popped
can
up?
think of. No.
All right, I'm gonna go talk to my guys who've done other interviews
Okay.
and see if anybody's got questions, so that we can kind of start putting more pieces together.
So, Robert, this is the first interview with Dylan Mortensen. About 5 minutes is what this detective just spent with what most likely, well, it's not even most likely, what they're saying is the most important eyewitness of the case. And the initial interview was 5 minutes long. What do you think about that?
It should have been longer than just 5 minutes, because if she's like the most crucial one that saw his eyebrows, I would think you would spend at least a good 10, 15, 20 minutes with this person, not just 5. Like Cheryl just said, I've seen longer traffic stops.
And I actually have to disagree with you, Robert. I think they should have spent approximately an hour to 2 hours with her. You have to understand, okay, this is the day that the crime was found. Potentially at 4 o'clock in the morning on this very day is when this young lady watched an intruder walk out of the home of a quadruple homicide. Don't you think you need to get every single bit of information before she might have forgot something? Don't you need the whole story?
Yeah,
whole
you would.
story.
Yes, you would need the whole story, not just a 5-minute condensed version of what looks like a narrative being born.
That's right. So we got 5 minutes of Murphy was potentially barking and outside. We got a couple of seconds, of a little bit of random talking about maybe a potential stalker of Kaylee. There was not one bit of information gathered in that interview that could have been used at trial against Brian Koberger whatsoever. And this is supposedly your eyewitness.
Yeah, no. According to Thompson, star witness, because she saw his eyebrows.
That's right. So Kathy's Indie Zone and I fully 100% agree with you. This is the most important interview right here, time frame, that could have potentially ever happened with Dylan Mortensen. And that's what you got. You got 5 minutes. Now, my point of saying that is this would have had to been one of your star witnesses at trial. She was the person that supposedly saw Brian Koberger leaving the house and heard what was happening in the house. She would have had to testify at trial. And this was the investigative work done by the Moscow Police Department after just finding the quadruple homicide.
I'm sorry, they couldn't find the homicide outside of a wet paper bag.
Well, my issue is, if I am a parent of one of the victims and I find out this is how the investigation's taken place, I've got a problem. You didn't get any information in that to help solve my child's crime at all. You pretty much patted a young lady on the hiney, telling her everything's okay, you're doing great, that was one of the lone people found in the home after the crime still alive. What in whose mind out of that interview could you utilize to say she did not or did commit that crime? There was nothing within that interview that would give enough information that could nullify her from being a part of the crime.
No, yeah, yeah. They asked her just basic, random, generic softball questions. She brought up, the fact that the dude following Kaylee outside the Winco, and the cops had already talked to him, and she brought up Murphy was found in. Apparently, Murphy was found in the house in Kaylee's room, but yet she said he was barking outside.
Right. Let me kind of follow a lead real quick here, Robert. I want to utilize something Kathy just said in regards to a missed opportunity about the 8-hour gap. If I was an interrogator, and the only reason why I feel as though I could even put my 2 cents in on this is because I've been interrogated enough that I feel like I got a little bit of a handle on it. And
Same.
my very first way of handling this, if I had gotten Dylan Mortensen, the one that's speaking a lot, not only right here at the very beginning, but she was speaking at the crime scene as if she had knowledge of what was happening in that home as it was happening. She was clearly speaking about noises and other things. So this is how I would have approached this in speaking to Dylan. I would have said, Dylan, I really appreciate you trying to break down everything that you know about the scene. I appreciate you trying to share your knowledge of the dog barking. I believe that we're going to have to gather all the information that you possibly have about Kaylee being potentially stalked. But the very first thing I need to ask you, what held you back from calling 911 sooner?
Exactly.
You're telling me you heard the dog barking. You're telling me you heard Kaylee up and down the stairs. You're telling me all these things at the crime scene that are very directly involved into what happened within this home and cost these people their 4 lives. When did it come to your attention that 911 need to be called? And why wouldn't it have been when you watched this person walk out your back door?
Exactly. Why the 8-hour delay? You and I both have read through the text messages of Bethany and Dylan. What does it show? They were on social media for 8 hours. That Dylan was texting the Uber driver or the private driver. Dylan was sending messages through Snapchat. Dylan was calling her parents. Where in the hell is the 911 call in that 8 hours that you're on social media? Nowhere.
And that's where some of my issue is you're able to be speaking about anything and everything, but you didn't call for help. And now it's coming out, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming out. Could someone have potentially still been alive for a little while after this crime happened? I always said, Robert, and I'm sure you'll even back me up on this. I always said not everybody had passed by the time the committer of this crime walked out the door.
Mm-mm.
There were people still alive.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but there were. And one of the reasons, and I agree with you, True Seeker, that is one of the first questions that should have been asked, because in an investigative mode, I want to know if I have Dylan Mortensen sitting in front of me in this room, how do I nullify you as a suspect? And one of the keys to being able to nullify you as a suspect is what was your reaction as you knew the crime was happening? Did you call for immediate help? And Heather Fitzgerald is in the house. It is great to see you. And I heard a little bit of news, Heather. I hope you're doing well. A lot of love sent your way. Or should I call you Lucy Morningstar? God, that tickles me almost like a strip club. Oh man, that sounds so bad, but it's the truth. It's like back in my younger years. That's one of the keys to bringing someone into an interview room is to not only get details that only you can extract from somebody like a witness or somebody that has knowledge, but how do I nullify you as a potential suspect? Right?
Yeah. And
And somebody please clue us in, Robert. Let's look at the chat. Anybody in the chat, what have you seen or heard that any investigation that transpired did to nullify Dylan Mortensen at any point in time as a potential suspect in the case?
I mean, just like Truth Seeker said, that made them both the most obvious suspects.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. You're alive in a quadruple homicide crime scene.
You're on social media
Robert,
for 8 hours.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, Robert. We just watched that for 5 minutes. She sat there very casually, and I'm gonna show the Bethany Funk, which it's crazy. The Bethany Funk interview on the very same day actually went for almost 30 minutes. Almost 30 minutes, and this is not your eyewitness. But I guarantee you, with as laid back as they were with these two, Robert, if that was you or I, and we were the survivors in this crime scene, and we didn't call 911 for 8 hours, it would not have been that laid back.
No.
I would have been cuffed to that table.
Same here. I would have been cuffed, and I would have had the good cop, bad cop being played on me.
Oh, yeah. And trust me, we would not have been going home that night. We would have been interviewed through the night.
Yeah.
What's the longest you ever sat in an interrogation room, Robert?
Oh, God. For my 2004 case, mind you, I managed to stay on the run for 3 days before I was actually caught. And I was in the interrogation room from 7 p.m. until damn near 3 in the morning.
So the longest I've ever been, Robert, in an interrogation room was almost 40 hours. I slept on the floor underneath the table every time they took a break. We were drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes. I was cuffed to the table. And guess what? I wasn't even a part of the crime. They just needed information, and they felt like they could get it from me. Almost 40 hours I was in that room. Pair of shorts, pair of Birkenstocks, shaking like hell, cold as you could be, and sleeping underneath that table, trying to get comfy, pulling the chairs together. Just doing whatever I could, man. Asking for sodas, coffee. Never, ever in this scenario would you or I have left that interrogation room after 5 minutes and that casually, ever.
Yeah, with a pat on the back. Good job.
So let me see here. I'm going to try to bring up, this is Bethany's. Bethany's is a little bit longer. Let's see here. We're going to figure this out again. So we'll skip here. So like I said, hold on one sec, because this is going to play for a minute. Let's get through this ad. I love the ads. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Outcast. His channel is, in my opinion, amazing. Yeah, I love the camera work here. What do you think about that camera? What's that showing right there, Robert?
I don't see you get.
That's
gotta
the
put it
roof
up on-
with the light.
Yeah.
See the light?
You got to pull it up on screen. I don't see
I got to
it.
bring it up on stage. Don't I? See the light?
Yeah.
So where's this camera if it's showing the roof? I don't even want to know, dude. Like, are we looking up skirts? What are we doing here? All right. So this one, ladies and gentlemen, is almost 29 minutes long. We'll go for a while. We'll stop. We'll discuss. We'll go a little while. So bear with us. We're going to listen. This is Bethany Funk's interview on the same day as Dylan Mortensen, the 13th of November of 2022. Let's see what Bethany has to say. And I know many of you guys have seen this, but you haven't heard what Robert's opinion is of it. So here we go.
If you could just take a deep breath for me, okay? I understand this is stressful, okay? All I want to do is try and get an idea of what you heard, what you saw, and any timeline, any information that you can give us so that we can try and figure out what happened, okay? So just take it.
You see the difference already, Robert, between her and Dylan?
She's crying. Dylan wasn't.
But also, do you see how he's approaching her? We need to get a timeline. We need to get what you saw, what you heard. When the hell did they say that to Dylan?
They didn't.
And Dylan's supposedly your eyewitness.
Yeah.
Bethany Funk supposedly never came up the stairs. Interesting. And trust me, they would have yanked that hoodie right off of you or me.
Yeah.
Deep breath for me. I know this isn't going to be easy. We'll kind of go from there, okay? Can I get your name? What's your first name? What's your middle initial? And your last name?
Gotta love they redact the name.
And your date of birth?
2003.
And you live there at 1122 King Road?
Yeah.
What's the phone number for you? And what state you're in, Nevada?
Nevada.
Nevada. Do you have your phone here with you? Okay. So what we're going to be doing is taking people's phones for a little while, and we're going to try and. So because I don't know if you called anyone or made any phone calls or anything like that.
Kathy's Indies on, you would probably know the answer to this question. I just listened to them they're telling Bethany they're taking the phones because they're going to do research on the phones to see what phone calls, what things were happening. Did they ever say that to Dylan in the 5 minutes? I know they asked her about her phone. Did they say they were taking it or anything? Because I didn't hear it. In the 5
No,
minutes.
I didn't hear them say that they were going to take Dylan's phone. But this interview is completely different, like you said, from the last interview. Bethany's like broke down in tears crying. Dylan wasn't.
Did you like how he had to push that door and lock it?
Yeah.
You know, so like most times when I was in the interrogation room, they were trying to keep the door open just in case they had to bum rush me. They were like, we're not going to lock ourselves in the room with this guy. But I mean, you can already see Bethany's being treated a little bit differently. She's definitely upset, which is understandable. I was kind of expecting to see more of this type of reaction out of Dylan, less out of Bethany.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to. Oh, I was reading some Kathy had to say. Sorry. Yeah, in regards to the Jack DeCour's phone.
What we like to do in an investigation like this is we try and collect as much information as we can. Okay, anything that might be small, you may not think is important for us to find out what happened, but is very crucial. So taking something off your phone might be extremely useful for us, even if it's something that you don't realize, okay? And we'll try to get that phone back to you as fast as we can. Okay, is that okay with you? Okay, so this is your phone here?
Yeah, can I tell my mom?
That's fine. That's your mom real quick. Yep. And then what I'm going to need is your passcode from your phone, or here between the two of us, we can even turn off your passcode, okay?
And every time I had to do an interrogation, ladies and gentlemen, when they took my phone or they wanted my phone, they would make me show them as I entered the passcode into my phone and then hand them my phone. And then they would hand it back to me and they would have me lock the phone and hand it back to them so that they could personally enter the passcode in to ensure that I was being honest about what my passcode was, because they want you to give them permission pretty much to get in and out of your phone. And if you're unwilling to do that, you can obviously tell them no, but they're going to get a warrant for it anyway. But that's how that typically played out with me, was exactly what he did here. He asked them about the code. And then, they would go and authorize that. I'm trying to see what Mark and Betty said. Anyone in here, Robert? I'm not sure what that means.
Oh, that's on my channel. I'm having like sporadic people pop over in the comments and then leave.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I mean, it does happen. Trust me.
How do you take a photo? Oh.
You figured it out? And if it won't let you do it, that's fine. You can just give me or tell me what your passcode
I
is.
just don't know my.
This thing just read like 50 articles in 90 seconds and summarized them for me. There is a God for us overworked interns. Tell me
All right,
why you
ladies
won't.
and gentlemen, here we go.
Okay. What is your passcode?
Commercial into commercial.
I just love how they redact Bethany's face and everything and her entire body, but they didn't do that with you know who.
And what type?
Yeah, it's because Bethany's protected. I'm going to tell you right now, Bethany is protected. Got money back in her without.
Can I see my mom text me real quick?
Name any other police interview you've ever seen where it's been blocked out.
Any social media do you have, like Facebook or anything?
She is an adult, right, Robert?
Yes, officially, yeah.
So I mean, why all this blurred out? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, the entire thing is like.
Do you have any other social media type
I
sites?
have.
Blurred out and redacted.
So everything this girl has to say is behind a hidden I mean, we as the people that get this information, this is supposed to be public. This is a public entity doing an investigation, and it's completely. I don't have this on mute, ladies and gentlemen. This is literally them. This is what they've done in this investigation. I'm not even sure I need to play the video. Are we going to hear any of it?
big ones?
Yeah.
Alright. So we're going to try to go back and try and get a little bit of a timeline, okay? So what did you guys do last night? More specifically, if you were by yourself and not with a group? What exactly?
Yeah, I agree with you, Cheryl.
Hear what he just said. The timeline.
Ethan was in the house, so
Yeah.
So you were with
one of them is my roommates, and one of them is her boyfriend.
Okay. So you were with Ethan
And Xana.
Xana?
Mm-hmm.
Can you spell that for me?
Xany. Or ANA, sorry.
X-A-N-A.
NA.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just trying to. Sometimes it helps me put names together. So you were with Ethan and Xana last night. Is that right?
Yep.
And do you know Ethan's last name?
Keenan. I don't know how to spell it.
That's fine. And Xana's last name?
Kernidle.
Do you know spell it?
I think it's KernO. Maybe another ODLE or something like that.
Okay. Okay, so you were with them. What time did you guys get to Pacific Crest last night?
Around 8 something. Maybe 8:30.
So 8:30 p.m.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. And prior to that, were you guys just at your house? Okay, so you left from your house.
Ethan was that formal because he went with his sister because she didn't have a date. And then we were just hanging out at our house. And then he came over and we all walked over together.
Okay, so that was you, Ethan, Xana. Was there another person with you? Or just the three of you that
Maddie
walked over?
walked over with us.
Okay, and that's who's
Logan.
Maddie? Logan? Is it Maddie?
Her real name is Madison Bell, I believe.
Okay. So you guys all walked over to. You were there about 8:30. Okay. Were you guys all pretty much together, or just kind of mingling throughout the house most of the night?
We were all pretty much together, and then Maddie left to go to the club with Kaylee. And then I was with Ethan and Xana most of the night, but then one of my friends came. Her name is Steve, and I hung out with her the rest of the night.
Okay. And who was that?
Her name is Yes.
Can you spell it for me?
Hey guys, did you know some drivers are ditching their car insurance and they're doing this instead?
Yes, Kathy, that's what she said. That Maddie also went to the Sigma Chi as well. So, as I'm watching this, it's so frustrating because everything cuts out so much that this just isn't real life to me, Robert. I've been through enough interviews, enough interrogations. This is just fake to me. It's all fake.
Yeah, they didn't do this with Dylan. Why are they doing it with her? If she supposedly didn't see anything and she was in her room downstairs on the first floor, you would think that it would be roles reversed. They would be doing this with Dylan, who supposedly saw the intruder with his bushy eyebrows walking out of the back door. But no, she got the 5 minutes, and they're treating Bethany like she saw everything and redacting everything and redacting her freaking image. Like, WTF, man.
I mean, I've watched a lot of videos, both interrogations and interviews throughout my lifetime. I've been in there myself, and I went over to give some love today. I want to give him a shout out as well. Pete with Murder Mill Mayhem, who'll be doing a live, by the way, everybody, tomorrow, 1 p.m. His time, Central Time. So make sure to check that out. But he was also discussing, because he's been into true crime for a very long period of time as well, that this just isn't the way it's done. And it's not, Robert. This is not how it's done. And you're right, the roles are reversed. In the sense you just let the actual key eyewitness talk for 5 minutes, and they're grilling Bethany. And I wonder if this is kind of what led the defense to want to know more about Bethany's situation, and where many people felt like she had evidence in the benefit of Brian Koberger. I mean, what are we supposed to feel about this when it was completely hidden across the board that these two girls were even awake when this happened? And now we're seeing them in the interview rooms, and this is a joke, man.
Yeah.
This is a joke.
Yeah. Christina made a comment. Do you know Sigma Chi had camera? Had to have cameras. I will say this: Sigma Chi did not have cameras. One of the Sigma Chi guys said that there is no cameras in or around Sigma Chi. So
Yeah, they would never have cameras because they act up so much. They don't want it to be on video.
Yeah.
You know, I had family members in different frats. They did not want cameras anywhere near it. Nowhere near it. Half of them would be in prison.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Kathy. I mean, if this was one of the larger cities, or even just a more established investigative team, they would have been more on top of other entities in the investigation. I mean, this guy's literally, in my opinion, he's on top of Bethany in this. This is more of an interrogation than this is an interview. I mean, even going at the cell phone and the things of that nature. And this is the wrong person.
Yeah.
Like this isn't, unless we're not being told something. I don't know. Maybe there's more to this, because we haven't seen or heard much from Bethany. She's very distant from this entire thing, not even showing up at the sentencing. I thought she would at least be there in support of Dylan.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I feel like her and Dylan don't actually coincide well. That's just my opinion. But we're 9 minutes in. Let's play a few more of this so that we can rant and rave some more here in a minute.
And his last name?
I don't know how to pronounce it, and her full name is bigger than that.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have a phone number for her?
Yeah.
It's on your phone. Okay, we can get that in a minute. Okay, so you were with, and at that point, Ethan and Xander were just kind of hanging out still at the house? Okay.
And then I went to our other friend's house.
Okay. What time was that at?
I don't know, maybe like 12-ish. But that could be wrong.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
And where's that house at?
It's just like up the street. I don't know that address.
Okay, up the street from...
Sigma Chi,
Okay.
kind of.
So you guys are at Sigma Chi, so you're walking back towards...
We're walking back towards my house, and then we're up this way.
So like when you got to Taylor Street, you went up? So if you walked all the way from Sigma News...
Or Sigma
Chi, sorry.
Yeah. You know the apartments, the whites?
Yep, I know the whites.
It's like that street, that way.
So on Taylor?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Do you know roughly where on Taylor? Or does she live maybe on the other off streets?
It's on Taylor, but it's like one of the end houses by the intersection. I don't know how to explain it.
Alright. Okay. And whose house is it that you went to?
It's... And I don't know their other roommate.
I love it, Mark and Betty. I love it. Little yellow chicken. Oh, Lord.
Okay. Alright, so you're at this house. How long were you here?
Maybe like 40 minutes.
Okay.
And then I left by myself. And went back to my house.
So you walked home maybe around 1-ish?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you see when you got home?
Is this guiding somebody through an interview? Like, to me, I get this feeling this is guiding for answers.
I mean,
Giving
holding
right.
holding their hand and walking them through it, basically.
Isn't that kind of what I get that feel to this, where normally when they interview you, they want you to give all the information possible that you have before they start feeding you information to help you answer things. This guy's literally, he's giving streets, he's giving times. This is called guiding an interview.
Yep.
This is helping to get to an end result that helps put the puzzle pieces together in a manner that they want the puzzle pieces put together. This isn't Bethany's story. This is a guided story. I mean, I want to say that's my opinion, but I'm watching it happen with all of you, and that's literally what we're watching. We're watching a guided walkthrough with information being given to a surviving person in a quadruple homicide home crime scene. Has she been cleared as of yet?
I do not know.
Of any wrongdoing?
I do not know.
Well, I mean, why would you feed her information to help her story? Don't you want to get everything she knows? You want to get all of her information. That way you can utilize it in your investigation to try to catch her. If she is lying, that's how you piece it together and catch her in a lie. If you spoon feed it, then there's no lie to be caught because you fed the information. And that's what he's doing. So by this point, they had to have cleared both Dylan and Bethany. Between these two interviews, these two individuals have been cleared already right now of this crime without an investigation.
The same day.
Yeah, she's been cleared hours after the phone call with no investigative anything that's happened yet. And she's being treated as if she's completely cleared. I mean, Dylan definitely got walked out like she was clear. 5 minutes. This young lady has to spend more time, but they are feeding her answers. I just wanted to let people know my feeling real quick.
Yeah, the way I feel about watching this, even though it's heavily redacted, it feels like that he's taking her by the hand and, like you said, walking her through this. Because I mean, you heard him say, "Let's just focus on the timeline."
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've ever heard that Maddie was at Sigma Chi.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. And it's the first time for everything. Too bad we never know what the truth is because I mean, we've heard so much. Let's go a few more minutes so that we can get some more firepower to rant and rave.
We're sitting on the couch watching Vampire Diaries. No one else was home yet.
And is another roommate or what's last name?
From the first spoonful of Magic Spoon cereal, you're hooked. A fruity flavor blast that's packed with...
She's a nothing.
Oh, okay. And
actually don't remember her last name.
that's fine. And is live with you guys too, or just with
Just a friend.
Okay.
And then she left.
Do you know what time she left at? But you were all watching
Vampire Diaries.
Okay. And anything happened during that time period?
We were just hanging out.
Okay. Do you know who else was in the house at that time?
No one.
No one? Just the three of you? Okay. So, let's go a little bit more then. What happened next?
Maddie and Kaylee came home from the club. Left.
Maddie and who?
Kaylee.
Kaylee? Okay. and they got home from the club. Do you know what time that might have been?
I think I told one of the cops that was talking to me at the house, like, better times.
It's okay.
I don't really remember right now. Maybe like
Okay.
2 something, 1.
Okay, I gotta stop it right here. Robert, I got a problem with that very statement she just made. I believe I told the cops earlier better times, but now I don't quite remember. Wait, what?
Yeah, I had to do a double take on that too. I'm like, because I had myself muted and I heard that. I'm like, wait, what the?
I mean, are you all of a sudden you don't remember? We're only talking about a few minutes here from when you left the crime scene telling the cops to now. And now is the most important part. You got to remember, right now she knows she's on camera and she's being audio recorded. At the crime scene, she probably did not know she was on body cam and being audio recorded, so she could say anything. Now she doesn't quite remember what she told the other cops. That's a problem, ladies and gentlemen.
She's being
That's a
evasive.
problem.
She's being evasive.
She is. Very much so. And convenient is a good word to say about that.
So if you got home around 1, that would have put them
Like
getting home.
1:45, 2, something like that.
So near bar break, if you had to guess.
What?
Like near bar break.
What does that mean?
Bars normally close at 2 o'clock here.
Oh, yeah. They went to Grub Truck after, so I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay. What'd you do after that, after Maddie and Kaylee got home?
We all hung out in Kaylee's room for a little. And then talked, and then Maddie and I took Murphy out to pee, the dog. And then I said I was gonna go to bed because I was tired. And she said she's gonna go to bed too. And then I went to my room. I was going to sleep. And she came and knocked and asked if I had Murphy, and I said no. And then I went to bed.
Okay. So what time did you think you took Murphy out?
Like 3 to 30.
2:30 to 3?
Yeah.
Okay. And where do you normally take Murphy to go to the bathroom?
Did she just say 3:30?
3:23. This entire thing is, we've
I
heard.
just went, like, so now they're taking the dog to the bathroom at 3:23. So that's after the 2:53 phone calls to Jack D, where so many people tried to push the narrative that right after that, Kaylee and Maddie passed out and were dead asleep in the house. Right? Am I getting this right? Like, isn't that what we were led to believe for so long?
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, we've also been told that Dylan and Bethany and a friend of Dylan's were all binge watching Vampire Diaries late into the night, and she just said there that her, Maddie, and Kaylee were chilling in Kaylee's room.
Yeah, I remember that. And Scott Metalhead, you're probably right. It probably was 2:30 to 3. That probably makes sense, but you have to understand these people are trying to piece together a timeline, and that's probably right. 2:30 to 3. I'm just having such a hard time with the redaction, the fuzziness of the picture. You know, the yellow chicken, like Marley and Betty said in the background. This is hard to follow because of what they've done to this video. And it's still when you're trying to make sense of a timeline, that 3 p.m. time frame doesn't make sense.
As a 3 a.m. timeline.
I mean, were they all in the room at the same time? Hey, Bluebird, great to see you. Were they all in the room at the same time, hanging out in Kaylee's room when they were speed dialing Jack D's phone?
Question, AR, what happened with Murphy if Bethany took him out? So where did he go? She never mentioned he came back in.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there's some of the contradictions between Dylan. Dylan says that it was barking outside, and she didn't even know if the dog came back in or how. I mean, there's so much I mean, now you got the young lady that supposedly took the dog to the bathroom, and there's no mention of how that dog got back in or why. Yeah, and you're right, Kathy, because one of the things that was discussed, that was brought to our attention, was the conversation about ordering more food. And you're right, we're now seeing this young lady describe how they were up there in the room, and there's not been a word stated about, yeah, we were all talking and we were thinking about ordering some food, but we were eyeing the food that Kaylee and Maddie brought home, so we were hungry. There's no mention of any of that. Very good point. Very good point. Bluebird, thank you so much for becoming a new member. It's always amazing. It's great to see you, by the way. Always, always great to see you and everybody else. I haven't had the opportunity to say hi to. Looks like Bianca joined in over on your side. She's the moderator, I believe, for your channel, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I want to say hi, Bianca. Thank you for tuning in.
It's great to see everybody. Melissa, it's great to see you. It's great to see everybody. I haven't had the opportunity. I'm sorry. I'm watching the yellow faded out chicken tell me about the timeline in the Idaho 4 case. So let's get back.
Just the back door in the kitchen.
So which one is 1122? So if I'm coming up King Road off of Taylor.
It's the big white house.
All the way at the very top on the right?
Well, it's technically on Queen, but the address is King.
Okay. So is it the one that's tucked back as you're going up to 500 Clean Road? Those big apartments? It's kind of tucked back just a little bit? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you normally go out the back deck then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know how to Cheshire it then. Okay. So you go there. You and Maddie take the dog out. Mm-hmm. And then how long do you think that took?
I was out there for maybe like 10 seconds.
Okay.
10 seconds.
Okay. So then you both come back in. So you and Maddie both
I
come
came
back
in
in
before she did.
Okay. Did Maddie still have the dog then?
Yes, I think so.
So you went out for a little bit, came back in. Do you know what time Maddie came back in? Mm-hmm. And you went straight to bed when you came back in? Mm-hmm. Okay. How long after you went to bed do you think Maddie came in?
Actually, I came in, grabbed some chips, went to my room, and watched the show for a little, and then I went to bed.
What were you watching?
It's called Baby Daddy.
Okay.
Was that a quick change of direction right there? Did you come back in and go to bed? Yep, I did. Oh, wait, no, I grabbed some chips and went downstairs to my room and watched some shows.
Yeah, like WTF.
No, I changed my mind. I didn't fall asleep because that wouldn't fit the narrative. I actually grabbed some chips and went down, and I was preparing for the show like that was going to happen on the second floor. Oh, wait. No, I was watching TV downstairs. I didn't see anything that happened upstairs.
Yeah, just like RC3 just said, sounds like she's whispering her answers.
She is. There's no doubt about it. No doubt.
You watched it?
Maybe like 30 minutes.
So one episode maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like a half.
Okay. And did Maddie come in during that show or after?
She just knocked on my door, I think, during and asked if I had Murphy, and I said no.
Okay. Then what happened after that?
I just went to bed, and then I woke up and I was like half asleep, and I just thought I saw like a firework or something, like it just sparkled like under my door, and I thought I heard like something kind of fall, and then Murphy barked, and I thought people were just making like food, like, and Ethan was here or something and knocked something over because he's usually loud in the kitchen upstairs.
Okay. So what do you mean by you heard a firework?
It sounded like a little firework, and then there was like a spark. I went by my, like, I'm on the bottom floor.
Okay.
And so it kind of looked like it came down there, but I don't know.
Sound familiar? Everyone's hyping AI coding. You try Cursor, but it just doesn't live up to the hype in your real code base. Here's why.
If
So I
I'm
have Cursor
out,
on my right, Augment on my left. They're both
And so is Murphy your dog?
Kaylee's dog.
Kaylee's dog?
Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend's dog.
Okay. So you heard Murphy bark right after you heard what you thought was a firecracker.
Yeah, something like that. Like, I don't know, dogs bark at random things. And sometimes when he's happy, he'll bark.
Okay. It didn't sound like an angry growl or anything like that, just a bark?
I don't really know. I was like half asleep.
Okay.
It just sounded like bark.
So, hear the firework, kind of see a spark underneath the door. Murphy barks. What'd you hear after that?
Pretty much nothing.
Nothing.
That's
after
it.
that? Okay. And you thought maybe someone was just in the kitchen at that point?
Yeah, just like someone accidentally fell into the table or something.
Okay.
And she was like with Murphy.
Do you know about what time that might have been? Do you have any idea?
4 or something. I tried to call all of them at like 4:20ish around that time, and no one was answering. I thought they just went to bed or something.
Okay. What happened after that?
And called me, and she said she thinks she saw someone, and I didn't know like really what to think of it, because sometimes we think we hear things a lot in the house, but it's usually just Ethan walking around. But she came, I told her to come in my room, and she could sleep with me, and we could lock the door, just stay in there just in case if there was anything, and that's all I know. And then I fell back asleep.
You didn't hear anything else?
Mm-mm.
Okay. No one else talking?
Didn't hear something.
Okay. Did you make it to your room then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What time do you think she got in your room?
Around like 4:20.
and Mike, I agree with you. There is vampire slayer shows that have fireworks in it, but would that be visible in a first floor bedroom tucked under a stairwell when the TV is up and above on the second floor in a position that wouldn't have shown anything over that ledge like a firework? And I agree with you, Kathy. I mean, this is obviously why the defense team wanted to talk with Bethany. Is there's some information that Bethany's releasing here that just doesn't add up to leading to a single perp or some of that nature. I believe the defense wanted to make a point that the bottom floor, the first floor, was accessed by a perpetrator. I think they wanted to make it very obvious to people that things were happening on the first floor, not just in the areas like the second, the third floor, that the prosecution's trying to clearly state everything happened on. I think the defense wanted to open up the fact that the first floor was being accessed and utilized as well.
Yeah, same. I mean, don't
What that would be, I don't know, but
yeah.
something.
The only thing I could, the only thing I can think of, brother, is we've heard about them finding a gun in Brian's property there in Pennsylvania. The only thing that would sound like a firecracker, and you would see a flash under the door, is that if a gun's being fired.
That handgun that was found in his home in Pennsylvania was taken apart. It wasn't even a full gun. But I mean, that just opens up a whole nother wide spectrum of things. If a firearm was used in the crime, and I can't say there wasn't one. I can't say there was one. One of the issues with that is I don't think we have the full autopsy report. I don't think we have the full, true, real statements of any of these people.
No.
We're watching this with Bethany, and I'm shaking my head. I know I shouldn't be, but I just the whole time, everything she says lands on my deaf ears because none of it makes sense. It doesn't seem real or true. She feels like she's being guided through this, and things that she's saying, like Maddie came down to the first floor and knocked on her door to ask where the dog was. When have we ever heard that anywhere?
Nowhere. And even though I'm behind my icon, I got my freaking hands, my face in my hands going, what the hell are we watching? What the hell is going on?
Yeah, I just this is pretty bogus. I mean, I hate to say that the whole thing comes together as bogus, including this is. I mean, Brian Cober's defense team has all of this, and they went for a plea bargain.
Yeah.
What am I missing? Like, what in the hell am I missing?
Tara Tate just said Bethany is behaving as though she's 8 years old. It's hard to take her seriously. The officer is treating her like a child too.
Well, the sad thing about it, and I want you to reflect too, Robert, but watching this, do you know who's being treated legitimately like an 8-year-old? All of us.
Yeah.
We're all being treated as if we're naive, stupid, incapable of putting together pieces of a puzzle. And then it's like everything has to be redacted because it's above our heads and we shouldn't know the truth. And I don't get the like if I'll leave it at this, but if you put the truth out to begin with, the real truth, the conspiracies don't fly.
No, they don't. And I'm like literally behind my icon with my hand on my face, like, what's going on? What? And I'm not repeating myself here, but roles are reversed. This right here, what we are watching, what we're hearing, should have been Dylan. But
This interview right here should have been the one that this time frame, these direct questions should have been the ones directed to Dylan. You're absolutely right. And real quick to answer Mark and Betty, and then I want you to answer this very same question, Robert. After I'll answer first. What changed so quickly for a plea deal in this case? And I hate to put it this way because people are going to shake their head at me and just think that I'm crazy. I literally think Ann Taylor and most likely Massoff sat in front of Brian Koberger and said, "You're not going to win. We don't have an alibi. Things are stacking up. This judge, we're not getting favorable decisions from the judge. We can't get the DNA tossed. If you want to save your life, because it sure seems like your mama wants you to save your life, we got to consider a plea bargain." That's my opinion. That's where I stand because there's no evidence right here that if I were a juror, and I hope that I have the capability mentally to be able to sift through and listen and put things together, I don't think as a juror I could have found him full out, beyond a reasonable doubt, guilty of this crime.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree with you, and I agree with you. We've had discussions behind the scenes, and we've both come to the same. We both come to the same point. Nothing in this case, even though it's over now, nothing in this case makes sense. Even with the documents that we have gotten over the last 2.5 years, even from the Moscow PD doing their document dump, nothing made sense in those documents. Nothing made sense in the documents that we got from the beginning. These interviews don't make sense. I mean, like you said earlier, Blaker is like literally walking her through what happened earlier that day. And yes, she's being evasive because she more likely didn't know yet that the body cam was recording her when she was talking to the first officers on the scene, and she's changing her story here, and he's treating her with kid gloves when her and Dylan were the only two people left alive in that house, and for 8 hours, 8 freaking hours, no 911 call on their social media up until the 911 call was placed, and we've heard the 911 call from, and Dylan was trying to explain what she saw at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the dispatcher says, I don't want to hear about that right now. What's going on? They had to have Emily Allant and Hunter Johnson come over from next door. Like, seriously, you're treating these, they call them surviving roommates, or surviving victims. They're not victims. They were in that house for 8 hours with dead bodies, and they didn't do shit.
A lot of people have reached out to me that feel as though Brian Comer is guilty of this crime, and they try to debate me with it, and that's fine, and I'm always open-eared, and I'll debate with it, and I even agree with some of the facts. But one fact that I could always relay back to them that legitimately would have changed the complete complexity of this case, and it's very simple. Bethany even just admitted right here, right now, she heard what she thought was somebody falling in the kitchen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Xana's body hitting the floor on the second level. Let's just be real about it. I know it's a horrific thing to talk about. She just admitted to hearing Xana's body hit the floor on the second level. Does anybody who has found Brian Koberger guilty understand the simple way of this case actually making sense? Was a 911 call being immediately made that could have led to the person that committed this crime, or persons committing this crime, being caught red-handed?
Yeah, I mean,
take that into account. How long do you think, in your opinion, Robert, it would have taken police to get to the crime scene if somebody called saying they felt as though their roommates had just been slaughtered?
Seconds, maybe minutes, because Moscow is a small town. Like I said, if somebody would have called 911, as soon as they saw somebody that they didn't know in the house, as soon as this person left and they called 911, would the victims have survived? Maybe. Would they not have? Most likely not. But at least if they would have called 911, they could have caught the perpetrator at the end of the freaking block.
Yeah, they would have at least ran into a potential getaway car.
Yeah.
Or people on foot, or witnesses in the neighborhood. Anything. But even more so, and it's very true, could you potentially have walked in on someone still breathing that wasn't breathing 8 hours later?
Yeah.
And they could have potentially not only survived, maybe not, but could they at least have given more information on the perpetrator? Could they have at least said it was more than one, or it was just one? Could they have given anything that would have helped solve the crime? Because I'm sorry, these interviews right here that we're watching, this is sickening. This is not valid information. This is not valid information. This is perfect for the Idaho 4 investigation. It's complete crap.
Yeah, they're just, all they're doing here with these interviews is setting up the narrative, setting up the timeline. And because you heard Blaker ask her, let's start with the timeline.
Yeah, we'll keep going here. We got about 10 more minutes, and we're 2.5 hours into the live. We're rambling and rambling and rambling. Here we go.
Okay, about the same time. Yeah. Where's her room located to yours?
I'm the only one on the bottom floor, right by the front door.
Okay.
And then you go up the stairs, and Xana's room, and Dan's room, the kitchen, and then upstairs is Maddie and Kayla's room.
Okay. And where's the room?
Right by the kitchen.
Right by the kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. say anything to you when she got into the room?
She said she thought she saw a man, but I didn't know what to think of it. I was like, still half asleep, and I was like, I didn't know what to do. I don't know.
Okay.
It didn't sound like I didn't hear screams, I didn't hear anything. I didn't really know.
Okay. Okay.
Have you ever wondered how buying Israeli goods helps Israel during turbulent times?
No, so she didn't say anything more than she just saw someone.
No, that's all I remember her saying.
So your bed then, if I'm looking at the right house, you have a parking lot, front door, and your bedroom's just to the right? Okay. And that's where you slept from by the time you finally got into your room around 4-ish or so. Actually before that.
Mm-hmm. So like 3 something.
Yeah. So you were in there sleeping. Okay. Dylan got to your room maybe somewhere around 4:20ish, but Dylan was already home at that point. You knew that Maddie and Kaylee were home. Do you know when anyone else in the house got home?
I don't know when Xana or Ethan got home. I didn't hear them come in or anything.
Okay. Okay. And last time you saw Xana and Ethan was at the Sigma guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So she said just right there, Robert. Am I wrong? She just said that the last time she saw Santa and Ethan was at the
Sigma Chi.
But what when Xana and Ethan at home watching movies and hanging out? So Xana and Ethan were never visible to Kaylee, Maddie, Dylan, Bethany when everybody was upstairs talking and hanging out. Xana and Ethan were nowhere to be found in the house at any point in time. Nobody knew they were there. I mean, that doesn't make sense.
No, because I mean we've heard from Xana's father that she texted him at midnight and said that her and Ethan were at home eating pizza and watching a movie because I mean they found that pizza box sitting on top of the trash can out back, and it had, I believe, Xana's name, either Xana's name on it or Ethan's name on it. But yet, coming from her, that the last time she saw them was at Sigma Chi, and she didn't see them after that. Like, what the hell's going on, dude?
Well, let me ask a really serious question. This goes to you, Robert, and everybody in the chat. From the crime scene photos that have been released and what we've seen, is there a TV in Xana's room where they could be watching movies in Xana's room?
The last thing I knew, the only TV in the house was in the living room.
Well, I mean, Bethany just said she was watching TV in her room, so there's probably one downstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some of them. I didn't see one in Maddie's room.
No.
But I just wondered, did anybody see if there was a TV in Xana's room in any of the photos? Because then they could have been in the bedroom with the door closed until she got the DoorDash and came out to get it. But, I mean, if there's no TV in Xana and Ethan's room, I mean, I'm sorry. I just feel like they had to have crossed paths. But she also just clearly made the statement she was half asleep and got woken up based upon her own text messaging from her phone. That's a load of crap.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? That's a lie, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a lie.
in that suspect? Doesn't that bring more heat to you in an investigation when you're caught in a lie?
Yeah.
That's true, Mike. They could be watching on their phone or on a laptop. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. Nana Cal just said, hello, AR and Robert. I haven't seen either of you for a long time. Good to see you both in good health. I gave the case a miss for a while. Too mind-boggling for me.
Well, I think that's what the issue is, Robert, this is literally one of the most stressful cases I've ever looked at, and I'm not even involved in the case. It makes no sense.
No.
I'm literally watching interviews, just trying to find some clarity, and it's making it more clouded.
Yeah.
More clouded. This makes it worse. This just put both Bethany and Dylan as maybe potentially the biggest liars in the case.
Yeah. I mean, Bethany was on the first floor, so she couldn't see what was going on. Dylan sees the perpetrator 5 minutes. Bethany is getting more exposure on this than Dylan when Bethany didn't see hardly crap.
That's very true, but also answer me this. Based upon the evidence that's been released through the investigation, including cell phone records, when did Bethany fall asleep and was half asleep to be awoken?
According to the text messages, she never mentioned being half asleep.
I mean, I just watched Lana over at Truth and Transparency do a timeline breakdown of the cell phones, and there's a 19-minute gap in the entirety of the morning of the cell phone usage between Dylan and Bethany. 19-minute gap. You're telling me she was fully asleep during that period of time?
Wow.
I mean, come on, man. She's in this room right here. I don't care whether you believe innocence or guilt of Brian Comer or we're watching a liar right now talking to police. Hey, it's great to see you, Curious Rose. Always, always great to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, let's continue. I got to hear some more lies, Robert. We got 8 more minutes of, let's see how many more lies we can count.
Did you see anything weird at the party?
Just a little.
Okay. And seeing how the way they're set up, where everyone hanging out primarily up in the main common room area, where most people hanging out in individual rooms and stuff like that.
It was a little bit of a mixture. At first, it was in the apartments, and then it was the main room.
Okay.
And then as I was leaving, I went to grab a backpack from our friend's room, and Xana and Nathan were sitting on the couch just listening to music.
Okay. And that was up in the main room, or that was in
That was in an apartment.
That was in an apartment?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I just got access to the Washington Post, Wired, and Fortune for free.
Tell me why you woke me up.
This is comment.
That's fun.
Did you hear of anything that happened to anybody?
Shit.
Was there anyone strange or odd hanging around the party?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Do you know of anybody in your house that has an issue with anyone? Any ex-boyfriends? Anything like that?
Mm-hmm. All their ex-boyfriends were really nice, and they still were good friends.
Okay. Have you ever had any of your roommates complain about anyone stalking them?
Mm-mm. Once though, Kaylee said when everyone was gone, me and were at the sorority house for a meeting, and it was little Kaylee, and she was taking Murphy out to pee. This was a while ago, and she said she swears she saw someone staring at her while she was taking the dog out to pee from the
Remember how
backyard.
long ago that was?
Maybe a month. She could see a anything happen.
You think it was about a month ago?
Mm-hmm.
Did Kaylee have any issues with anyone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you, Emma. Perfect. Perfectly well said.
None of them have made any comments or statements of anyone trying to come onto them or anything like that. And you said that all of the ex-boyfriends of that, they're all normally very nice and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of them fairly recent breakups?
One, but
Like you said, every little bit. Can you give me a little information on that one?
his name's he lives
Okay. Where's he live?
Down the street.
On Taylor?
On King, I think.
Okay.
And he and Kaylee share Murphy.
Okay.
And they dated for 7 years.
And that's in Kaylee?
Mm-hmm. Or something like that.
And they dated for 7 years?
Something like that. Since high school. Their families are really close too.
Okay. And they shared Murphy?
Mm-hmm, I think.
Okay. How long did they break up?
Maybe like 3 months or something. But they're still on really good terms.
Do you know why they broke up?
She was gonna move to Texas.
Where's she came from?
Coeur d'Alene.
Okay. Where is she from?
Coeur d'Alene.
Okay. Okay. You said that they're still on good terms, they still talk to
Very
each
good
other?
terms, yeah.
Okay. Has Kaylee been seeing anyone else lately?
Not really that I know of.
Okay. Do you know when she was going to move to Texas?
After the semester. But then apparently she wasn't going to anymore. I don't know.
Do you know what changed your mind?
I think she wanted to stay here with all of us.
Okay. Is there anything else you think is important for me to know? And you might remember things later. That's very normal, okay? If you think you remember anything else, please reach back out to us and bring me back in and we'll get that information, okay? Just gonna go back to my notes real quick before I let you go, okay? And you don't remember Kaylee's last name?
And Gonzalez.
Gonzalez?
Yeah, Gonzalez.
Okay, can you spell it for me?
I don't know how to spell it.
Oh, that's right, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. Okay. All right, yeah, I very much thank you for sitting down with me, okay? I'm going to take you back to the other room so you can be with your friends, all right? Are you sure there's nothing else?
So I'm sorry, he keeps asking her if there's anything else. Well, if there was anything else, you would have to guide her into anything else. You've been guiding her the entire time anyway. Why not tell her what else you need?
You lived with this person a while, but you know their last name, Gonzalez, but you don't know how to spell it.
I mean, I don't even really know how to respond other than it's clear as day to me. We've watched 2 interviews, and this is going to be what we're going to do tonight. I mean, we'll watch some more. We can do another live, Robert. If you want to do another one, we'll do another one where we can go over Jack Showalter's phone call with 911. We also have the Hunter Johnson. There's others that we can go over as well.
Yeah, just
it's just, and Melissa, yeah, I did. I watched. I did watch Lana's live in regards to cell phones, and Lana does great work, and I definitely am appreciative of a lot of the knowledge that she has and shares. So, this 100% tells me Gillen and Bethany were never investigated. They were never considered potential suspects. They were never taken seriously as being a part of this crime whatsoever. And I think that is a huge mistake. I think that's a very bad mistake. I'm not coming out here yelling and screaming that they're involved. I'm not saying they committed the crime. I don't know. But I think the investigation right there, that's proof in the pudding that it's 100% a shoddy investigation that just let 2 individuals with lying tendencies, deceiving tendencies off the hook.
I don't know what the hell I just watched, but it makes me want to go take a shower and bleach. Seriously. Yeah. You have you have this officer who claims that he doesn't know where the 1122 house is, but he knows where the Sigma Chi house is. That's a bald-faced lie. We've seen the body cam of Blaker standing on the porch of 1122, threatening Hunter Johnson and the other guy for having a party in the house with nobody home. He knows exactly where this house is because he has responded numerous times to noise complaints for the house. How can he sit there in this interview video say he don't know where it is?
Yeah, I mean it's I don't know. I knew it was bad news the minute during the very initial press releases that were done when the press, the actual media member, questioned the 8-hour delay to the officer at the podium. I think it was Fry that was talking. Was it Fry or was it the other guy?
I think it was Lanier. When Lanier and Fry.
Yeah, I think they both led the crusade that these 2 girls were asleep. And I mean, the lies, the covering up, the protection of these 2 happened immediately in this case. And I don't know why. Like I said, as I'm listening a little bit more to like Charlie Kirk's type content, I'm realizing that communication, debate, discussion is extremely important across the board, no matter what your views or what your opinions or what your thoughts are. I think discussion goes a long way. I think that opening your mind to understanding what's being said or meant is very important, and discussing that's very important. What I'm completely confused about is the fact, and somebody stated it up here, is why are we all being perceived as if we're idiots when most of us have seen and watched and followed much bigger investigations than this one.
Yeah.
And we were able to put puzzle pieces together. Like, we could figure truth out compared to lies. And, one thing I try to tell people, and it's not something to be proud of, but when you've been a liar and a successful liar, gotten away with lies throughout your past, you can typically smell out another liar. Like, you can typically gut feel it. Like, these two right here are just, they're not honest. I'm sorry. They're not honest. In January, it's great to see you. Thank you. I am doing well, getting better. I can't wait to continue to get better. I'm hoping everybody, just to let everybody kind of know, the game plan is hopefully here in October, I could be off of these 24/7 IV meds, get this PICC line out of my arm, and we can start working out other angles in life. Let me pull this up real quick. So what we'll do, Robert, why don't we engage with the crowd a little bit? We'll answer a few questions, and then we'll probably call it a night. We can set up. We could do another one to go over more interviews. There's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot to break down. I mean, that could it be a flash? Could it have been a camera? I mean, in this case, you never know. I mean, many people feel as though this entire thing was potentially live streamed. I mean, I'm sure you've heard that too, Robert. Where this could have potentially been live streamed. So,
yeah. Melissa brought up a valid point here too. They let this dangerous person BK cross the country, putting countless citizens in danger.
In California, Grandma, it's great to see you. Yeah, and that's something that we've been screaming to the rooftops too. Is I mean, it's just crazy to think about. It's extremely crazy to think about the investigation as a whole, but the end result of actual not fine-tuning and giving factual basis for the investigation that we as people can grab onto and feel as though you've done well in solving this. You've literally made most of us backtrack and lose trust and lose faith in the very investigative tools that they wanted us to believe in. I mean, come on, IgG, investigative genetic genealogy. Boy, people better be having a ton of questions in regards to that solving cases now.
Yeah, I mean, just you're watching stuff like this. Yeah, it makes me wonder. It makes me realize exactly why I walked away from the case for a while.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I have to. I might, just after tonight's live, I might need another month off. I feel dumber already just watching those two interviews. Like, I literally feel stupid watching those two. Like, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
What did I watch?
Yeah, you have the you have the supposed eyewitness getting 5 minutes, and the person that didn't see shit getting longer. Like what? Yeah. This case, dude. This case, for a long time, made me want to beat my head against the wall.
What do you mean you didn't? I did.
I did a couple of times.
You didn't beat your head against the wall? You must have been a good drinker or something, because I was beating my head against the wall every chance I got. What are you talking about? Do you know how many videos of content I literally erased without ever publishing because this case made me so sick to my stomach that I would rant and rave and yell and scream that, I would do a video or I'd do content and I would just shred it up and throw it away because I was like, I can't put that out. I didn't portray myself in the proper manner.
I mean, dude, there's several times as soon as I got off a live stream, or as soon as I got done with the video, I went into the kitchen, into my freezer, pulled out a bottle of freaking Jack and started drinking it.
I mean, And that's one funny thing too, is my wife will tell you, when I first started covering this case, I did drink. I was a sangria drinker. I was a wine drinker. And then this case made me actually quit drinking. It absolutely 100%. I quit drinking. And then, I quit smoking cigarettes. I think it's now been 4 years, 3 years. I quit those cold turkey. I mean, I've just made a complete change. And that's one reason why I can't wait to get this pick line out. I've got so many aspirations now. I know that maybe some of them are far-fetched of getting healthy. When when your health gets a little shaky, and then you start to realize how important life moving forward is, you want to get healthy. So now it's like, I'm going to get healthy at almost the age of 50. And but it's cases like this that really put a stranglehold. And I watch a lot of content creators. I've literally watched, when I look over to someone like Tommy Jude, he had a heart attack over this case.
If you remember, so did I, twice.
Yeah, you did as well. And you know what? I've watched another good content creator and a good person walk away because of this case in Swamp Rose. Christy Nevada is struggling with some health issues and is walking away because of this case. I watch good people struggle because of this case. And thank you, everybody, for the congratulations. I definitely appreciate that. I just, it's life is a blessing, and I now am finally starting to recognize that. It took me a long time. It took me a long time to realize that. Definitely a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I'll admit, I got like right now in the freezer, I got a bottle of Fireball. With what I just saw in these videos, I'm how tempted to go in there after the live and take a couple of shots.
Well, since I don't drink, have one for me. Bianca Christie Nevada is an amazing individual. Both Robert and I completely adore her. We support her 110%. We thought she was going to be live with us tonight. Hopefully I can get her to join us soon. Tommy Jude, I think about Tommy Jude quite a bit. We've had our differences of opinions, but we're also pretty good friends. We do, in the past, we talked a lot outside of YouTube, and I've watched his health struggle.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he puts so much emotion and so much work into the things that he believes in and what he has going on.
Yeah.
I definitely, and Christy, I'll reach out. I want nothing but the best for Tommy and other content creators. I watched Pete with Murder Metal Mayhem completely fall apart health-wise for over a year, and he battled back, and I stood with him in and out of the hospital. I was taking phone calls from that man at 3:00 in the morning. It's hard. And I will. I'll reach out to Tommy, and I'll find out more about how he's doing and what's going on. Let him know that he's got a lot of love out here and a lot of supporters. And that's the thing. Like across the board, Kathy's Indie Zone was in here. I'm so appreciative, and the other content creators to spend time coming in here supporting both Robert and I, as we do. We go and we support others as well. And it's just it's hard because we do get invested in this. We do a lot of research. We put a lot of work. And I can tell you right now, since this case broke, a lot of time Robert was invested in this. I had YouTube content. I had Facebook groups. I had traveling to go to the court hearings. I had conversations behind the scenes with people around the case. I was supportive of other people involved in the case. I had a lot going on, to the point that maybe it took away a little bit of my focus on my own health.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's hard. And now here we are. We're talking to it again. Here we are again. We're talking to it again.
Tara Tate said it's the content creators who continue to seek the truth and uncover actual facts and keep viewers sane in regards to this case. You're greatly appreciated.
I appreciate that. I mean, I think I'm just very careful. I don't mind stating what I have to say is my opinion. It's my thoughts. I don't know who committed this crime with a factual basis. I can't give you the end resolution of this case. But I could definitely give you thoughts and give you opinions. And something going on with Dago I don't know about. I see somebody say, bless Dago's heart. Always send a lot of love out to Dago. Dago,
Yes.
was the first platform I ever engaged on YouTube. When I became a YouTube creator, Dago was the one that opened his arms and his platform to allow me to speak. And then he supported me in ways that, many didn't give me that opportunity. And another one that did as well is, there's so many out there that did.
Yeah.
Bubbly Waters was one of the very first supporters I had as well. And I know many of you guys know Bubbly Waters. Tommy Jude and I were actually close before either one of us even came to the platform, before either one of us were even YouTube content creators. Tommy Jude and I talked and we engaged and we argued and we threatened each other with a fist fight all the time behind the scenes on Facebook and whatnot, and got a lot of love for each other. Difference of opinions. Trust me, Robert, I'm sure you agree.
Yeah.
We all have difference of opinions, but the end result, I only want the best for all of them. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, I will reach out. I'll find out. I'll look into what's going on with Tommy, and if I can be of any of help to Tommy or lead, lend a hand in any way I possibly can, I will. He is a good individual, big heart, very loving individual, very emotional, very chaotic. He's across the board, every emotion you can imagine. So
Yeah. Tommy Jude had me on his panel numerous times, and that's how you and I met. AR is over on Tommy's channel, and I'm she shall not be named. You saved me from that situation, and I want to thank you for that.
well, I appreciate you, Robert. I mean, it's we all got to have each other's backs as much as possible, even with the difference of opinions. We've got to carry the weight of showcasing out here that no matter the difference of opinions we may have, because trust me, ladies and gentlemen, I got a lot of people that are on the platform that I don't agree with. I don't believe what they're saying, but I'm not going to argue with them and I'm not going to be negative towards them. That's why I told everybody in the last time that we were live, in discussion with the Idaho 4, I don't have a problem discussing things I agree with that people are sharing. I'm not going to break down things I disagree with. I'm just not going to go there. And if they choose to do so in my content or things I have to say, that's okay. I can use the critique. It will probably help me better myself. And Robert, I know you're always looking for critique. You're always looking to better yourself as well. So if people want to critique us, that's great. That's fine. We'll take it in a positive nature. We'll grow from it. And we'll be here moving forward, not only covering this case, but many others as well, as there's a new case every day, Who out there thinks that P. Diddy, I mean, he got 4.5 years. He'll probably do far less than that. I mean, who thinks that's a rightful conviction, or do you think he deserved the 11 or more that many people were calling for? I myself think money talks, and when you got money, there's a good chance you're gonna do far less time in the penitentiary.
Yeah, from what I heard on that, he was in the courtroom crying and pledging that he'd never do it again, and he was a good person. And the defense showed a video of him and his children over the last few years, and portraying him as a good, wholesome family man. And he was crying in the courtroom, telling the judge he'd never do it again, and he apologized. personally, I think he should have got the 11 years.
I'm sorry, man. We all watched you physically abuse a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You physically abused a woman. That woman's respect and values in life are worth more than 11 years.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And look, I'm not perfect, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for the super chat. That's amazing. Truly appreciative. I personally one time lost my senses with my wife, and it almost was devastating. I didn't touch, I didn't land, I missed, and it intentionally hit a wall. But I went and sought out counseling and mental health immediately following that, because I could never allow that to happen again. And what I saw on live video of what P. Diddy did, let me just sit in a penitentiary cell with that dude for one day.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the same video of him dragging that girl down the hallway and hitting her and beating on her on camera. And this dude got 4 years.
That woman's life was worth far more than what we just saw happen today. But that's also money. That's money, dude. That's money talking. How many times? Just think of it this way, everybody. Just in your mind, scroll through the NFL, just the National Football League of football players, and think of how many people have committed felony crimes of domestic violence or worse and didn't get 1 day in jail. I can name at least 5 to 10 on one hand. On my hands.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's power, it's money, it's influence.
And some of them are still playing in the NFL. You've got the Hunt guy that played for the Kansas City Chiefs to beat up his female loved one. You have the guy, the running back from the Saints, I can't remember his name, that was on camera dragging a girl out of an elevator. So I want to say, I'm not saying all of the NFL is that way, but there's a percentage of NFL football players that have done worse crimes than many people that I was incarcerated with did, and they didn't do a day in jail.
I mean, dude, Hollywood's the same way. I don't know if you remember that. I don't know if you remember that show, The Commish, back in the early '90s. One of the stars of The Commish is serving life in prison because he murdered his wife. And look at Danny Masterson from that '70s show. He's serving 30 years in prison for you know what.
Yeah, I mean it. I'm just saying, money talks. The same charges P. Diddy had, if those were charges on me, I'd have got a life sentence.
Yeah, what's the old saying? Money talks and bullshit walks.
Yeah, but money also bails people out. I'm sorry, but it does. The more money you got, the quicker you get out. But anyway, Robert, It's been an amazing time with you as always. I appreciate you joining me up here. I appreciate everybody that stopped in to enjoy this live with us. I know it's a Friday night. I want you to get your boogie on. I want you to have a great night. I'm going to reach out to Tommy, Jude, when we get said and done with this. I'm going to find out some info. If you would like to get back together, Robert, we'll go over some more of these just insanely baffling interviews, and then we'll discuss some more of that. One of the ones that I'm very interested in is Jack Showalter. I think this is one that I have some opinions of, and hopefully you'll join me for that, Robert, and everybody in the crowd will join us.
Yeah, this would be my. These interviews are the first time me seeing them. especially the Jack Showalter one. That's how tuned out I have been. Is after after the sentencing, I tuned out.
Well, I don't really blame you. And just let everybody know, please. So I utilized Outcast. He is a content creator here. That's who I was using from his channel. I was getting the interviews from his channel. So please show him some love if you haven't already. If you get the chance, please give him a like or give him some support, because he's been great and not only promoting other content creators out there, but he's also been very, very kind to me tonight, allowing me to utilize his channel with some of his videos. So that was, I'm very appreciative of that. I would like him to get some credit for that. So he's an excellent individual, and I definitely appreciate you guys giving him some love as well. So Robert, I'm going to go ahead and we'll say our goodbyes. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back again soon. If you could tolerate us for another live in the future, please join us. We'd love to see you.
Yeah. I want to do something real quick. Cindy Abbott Tentdoor said, "I have been too, Robert. Mainly a lot of stress in my life. Not that I am a creator as invested in this as the creators."
And Cindy, I definitely, I've seen you've been very invested in this, and we definitely appreciate you joining us, but we understand. I mean, this touches everybody. It's not just the creators. It's everybody that's been invested following this case and actually cares about justice.
Yep.
So Robert,
yeah, I was
my
gonna
man.
say, I was gonna say, hopefully tomorrow I'm going to the zoo.
Well, come on and see me at the zoo. I'm in the monkey cage, and I'll fling some stuff your way. All right, ladies and gentlemen, much love to all of you. We appreciate every single one of you.
Yep.
We'll see you again very soon.
Peace out, guys.